welcome to the stage Giovanna Sainz. All yours.
Sweet. Well, hello everyone. Thank you so much for being here this morning on this rainy morning. It's a pleasure to be here and just want to give a shout out to all of the WhaleFest event. It's, volunteer run and it's just a really beautiful event. So I hope that you all enjoy it today. But today I'm here to talk to you about a mobile app called FathomVerse. And it's harnessing the power of community science to accelerate ocean exploration. And we're on a mission to discover all life in the ocean. And FathomVerse has been a huge collaborative project that a lot of people have dedicated their time to. So I'm really excited to share that with you all today. So before I dive into the presentation, I just want to do a little bit about me. I then want to introduce you to our team, and then would love to show you a little bit about MBARI, and then I'll jump into my main presentation. So I grew up near the Monterey Bay, and I learned pretty early on that I really had a fascination for the natural world, specifically the ocean. So after I graduated high school, I attended my local community college and tried to take a marine biology class, and my community college had one class, and it was on a Saturday. Still took it, but so through that, I was trying to figure out ways that I can get involved in ocean conservation. So that's kind of where I discovered my love and appreciation for volunteer work. So for a couple of years, I volunteered with the Marine Mammal Center. And the Marine Mammal Center, which I believe are here today, they rescue sick and injured marine mammals. So I got to spend a lot of time working with some of the animals. So here I am holding a little baby harbor seal that we had rescued, and it's so cute. And we were doing, a medical examination. So that was fun. And I also spent some time actually volunteering at the Monterey Bay Aquarium. And at one point, I actually was volunteering, with both of them at the same time. Good times. After my community college, I went on to transfer to UC Santa Cruz, where I went to study marine biology. And that's where I really discovered my love for research and that I wanted to do research as a career. And I didn't really know that you could do research as a career. So that was really fun. And I was in a marine ecology class, so I got to do a lot of really cool projects. And I feel like both, the volunteer work and the exposure to research really helped, kind of get me where I am today. And so now I am a research technician at MBARI. And so I work across two different labs. One of them is the video lab, and the other one is the bioinspiration lab. So at MBARI, I spend a lot of my time in front of a computer, like the photo you see there, analyzing a lot of deep sea footage. And on occasion, I get to go on research expeditions for a couple of days, sometimes up to 10 days. And that photo there is showing me in the control room, and I'm controlling the main science camera. And this particular expedition, we were out near this area called Octopus Garden. And it's near a seamountain right off the coast of Big Sur, and it's where a bunch of octopus sort of aggregate. So we were filming there and then using some of our lab equipment to study the animals as well. So now I want to introduce our team. The Bioinspiration Lab at MBARI is led by Dr. Kakani Katija, right there. And she's actually on her way right now to Brazil to go on a research expedition with the Schmidt Ocean Institute, alongside two of our other team members, Yost and Emily, where they're going to be studying the twilight zone. So the twilight zone is the kind of water column right in between the surface and the seafloor. So they're going to be using some of our lab-developed instruments to study the animals that they discover. So that's going to be exciting. But the Bioinspiration Lab, we are a group of engineers and scientists working together to develop instruments and techniques to study and observe life in the deep sea. So our lab is located in Moss Landing, which is the center of the bay, and WhaleFest is right there. We're here in Monterey. This is our building, and my office is right there in the corner. So at MBARI, we are conveniently located at the site of a submarine canyon. So if you were to drain all of the water, you would be left with a canyon pretty comparable in size to the Grand Canyon. And it's pretty deep, so it's about a mile deep or 1,700 meters. And eventually it starts to flatten out into what we call an abyssal plain. So it's just a very flat, sandy bottom. And so the deepest point is actually 4,000 meters, so about 2.5 miles deep. So that's literally right here in our backyard. So because of this, our location gives us pretty quick access to the deep sea, which is pretty unique to our area. All right. So to start my full presentation, I like to start with this image here. So this is our planet, this is our home. And photos like this sometimes make you wonder, why we call it planet Earth and not planet ocean. So we are looking at the center, right now this image is centering on the Pacific Ocean. And so over 70% of Earth's surface is covered by ocean. And because the ocean is so massive in volume, it represents about 99% of the habitable regions in the ocean. However, human eyes and cameras have seen less than 1% of it. And because of this lack of exploration, scientists estimate that 30 to 60% of life in the ocean is still unknown to science. And it's really important that we fill this knowledge gap, because if we don't know what's living down there, how can we really learn to protect it? So one of the leading ways that we study our ocean is through using imaging systems like the ones you see here on the screen. So scientists, researchers, enthusiasts all over the world are deploying systems like this to document life in the ocean. And they're using robots, both autonomous and remote, drop cameras like the one you see here with the scuba diver. And at MBARI, we use many that are pictured here. So some that I would love to highlight are what we call our remotely operated vehicles, or ROVs for short. And those are these right here with the little arms and the camera. And these are underwater robots that are tethered to the ship. They're connected to the ship the entire time, and they are controlled by an ROV pilot who drives it. And these robots are really cool because all of them have really high definition cameras. And so our big ones, Doc Ricketts here in the center, the yellow one, and that orange one, Ventana, those two have 4K cameras, so they can film really beautiful footage. And then the mini ROV here, that one has an HD camera. And these robots are really cool because not only do they have these cameras, but they also have robotic arms like the ones you see here that we call manipulator arms. And those allow for us to conduct research underwater as well. And we also have the one on the very top right corner. Those are autonomous underwater vehicles, and those are torpedo-shaped underwater robots that are programmed, and then they go out and do a mission. And some of them even have cameras in front as well. So these are just some of the ways that, and some of the tools that we use to observe our ocean. And so this video here is a video recorded by one of our ROVs in the canyon out here in the Monterey Bay. So videos like this are incredibly rich resources, giving us information about the kind of animals that we see, how many of them are there, and their habitat. So in the video lab, we spend a lot of time looking at videos just like this, where we annotate it. And annotation, what I mean by that is we are identifying all of the animals that we see. In some cases, we are counting them all. And we track things like the geology that we see, even document things like behavior. And we're trying to extract a bunch of information that could be useful for, for science. And as you can imagine, this is, incredibly time consuming and takes a really long time. So for context, some of these ROV dives can be, 10 hours or more. And sometimes it could take, weeks to analyze just one dive because we only do this really half of our time. It's half of our job. So it just takes a long time to do this. And with the advancement of more and more imaging technology, at this point, visual data is just coming in faster than we can really process. So for this kind of effort, we need all hands on deck. So we created FathomVerse, where we invite gamers and ocean enthusiasts to dive in to learn and discover ocean animals from their mobile device. And we were really inspired, by platforms like iNaturalist and Pokemon Go, and recognizing that there are millions of people out there who love gaming and who love the ocean. We decided to make a mobile app that taps into that curiosity and enables gamers to contribute directly to science. And we launched FathomVerse in May of 2024, and we launched version 2.0, which is has some new features, and we launched that last year. And to create a game like this, we collaborated with a game design team called Anrange, who are based in the Netherlands. And together with them, the Bioinspiration Lab, and even other collaborators like the Monterey Bay Aquarium, we worked together to make this game and application from scratch. So in the app, players label real images collected by researchers, and we have data contributions not only from MBARI, but from other researchers all over the world. This mobile game is free on the App Store and Google Play, and our audience was high school and up and anyone who loves the ocean. And we designed FathomVerse with with 5 game design pillars. So the first one is exploration. We wanted to provide players with the ability to select missions and learn more about the things that they want to learn. The second is blissful productivity. So we wanted to make the gameplay both productive and relaxed so you can enjoy playing while you have a few minutes to spare. And we wanted to keep it casual. We wanted the game sessions to be pretty short, so 5 to 10 minutes, with the idea that you could, use this and play a short mini game while you're like waiting in line at the grocery store or waiting for the bus. So we wanted them to be pretty short sessions. Keeping it real, so there's no fake narrative. Players are collectively contributing to ocean science. And lastly, we wanted this game to have an inspiring mission, and that mission is to discover all life in the ocean. So next, I would love to show you the trailer. You might hear the audio on my computer, so you might see me kind of messing with the audio. So just a sec. Right, and I have to give a shout out to Emily Clark on our team who made this really beautiful trailer for us. So now I would like to show you what the game looks like from the player's perspective, and we'll get into a little bit about features and some of the really cool things within the app. And this is pre-recorded little walkthroughs, so bear with me if things are moving. I'll try my best to keep it at pace. But when you open the app, this is the hub, and you'll get tutorial nudges that will show you how to start training mode to identify animals. And then you'll then be prompted to select the animals that you want to search for. So here you can see that sea star, vampire squid, and bony fish were selected as the missions of animals that you're going to be identifying. And here is the animal library where you can choose your animal missions. You can browse through a collection of ID guides called mission briefings. And these briefings teach you how to identify ocean animals. And I just want to spend a little bit of time on these mission briefings because they're a pretty important part of the game. And honestly, they're also something that I'm very proud of. and I worked on creating all of the mission briefings within the game, and which are meant to teach the players how to identify different animal groups. And it was definitely no easy feat because I'm not an expert at every single animal in the ocean, but it was still a team effort. So I worked pretty collaboratively with MBARI's video lab and worked with other like researchers to kind of really capture like some of the key features in a small amount of space to teach players how to identify the animals. And so now in the game, there are currently over 70 missions, with a little bit more coming soon. So that's just taken, a couple of years to do. And a fun detail is you'll notice icons like these here throughout the game. And for this, I collaborated with a designer, Curtis Wath, and we created a lot of these animal icons specifically for the game. And these little icons are actually available publicly for anyone to use. We uploaded them on this website called PhiloPic, and this website has different animal silhouettes that you can use in presentations, or you can really use it for anything. And it's a free source, so if you're interested in finding them, you can just type in PhiloPic and then FathomVerse, and then you'll get the entire collection. So that's just a little fun thing that I wanted to share. All right, so now back to the game walkthrough. So now when the dive begins, you search for your 3 selected animal missions. So in this case, our sea stars, our vampire squid, and our bony fish. And each floating particle is an animal to discover. You can then tap on an image to examine it and decide whether or not you want to collect it. And then you can drag the animal to your avatar to collect it. And at the very end of the dive, you'll be prompted to the classification part. So when you finish exploring the currents and collecting animals, you'll move on to the labeling, where you classify each animals that you collected, and you can refer back to the missions, so you can quickly access that educational content for reminders if you need them. And if you collect an animal that you didn't really mean to, or they weren't on your mission, you can actually put none of these. And you'll notice that they're also going to favorite the image as well. So this is a really cool thing, is as you're seeing those images pop up, you can actually favorite them, and you can even share them, with your friends in text message or on social media. When you graduate to expedition mode, you'll explore imagery that hasn't been seen before, and this is the part that directly contributes to science. You'll review collected data from scientists and collaborators, and with the FathomVerse community, you'll establish consensus labels by casting your vote. And at the end of your play session, you actually get feedback to earn also contribution points, and also to see like your performance. It really helps you kind of improve, because some animals are pretty hard to tell apart. And once you reach a certain level, you can actually then unlock all four of the mini games that are currently on the game as well. So there are 15 levels in the game, and players work their way to become denizens of the deep. So that is level 15. And I'm actually not yet a denizen of the deep, which is kind of embarrassing. I should be. But, I spent so much time looking at data. Yeah, it's really fun. And here in this timeline, it also shows you, what level you are, and also some of the like timeline of all of the, some of the awards that you've unlocked. And to access the rewards, you will find them in the vault. And here you'll find rewards like exclusive video content, and in the next little tab there, you'll find badges that you earn as you're playing, also made by Emily on her team. And then you'll see quests, and quests are opportunities to earn more contribution points. So one example is like if you play the game, 100 days in a row, you earn certain badges and earn like a certain number of contribution points. So we also wanted game players to have community around playing the game where they can share their favorite discoveries and share excitement about the game and the ocean. We created this community tab there, and that takes players to our Discord community. And I think if I click here, it actually will show you how to do that. So if you click it, it will then prompt you and take you to the FathomVerse discussion server. The Discord platform is a really cool platform where you can create different channels on different topics. So we have all kinds from like ID discussions where, I guess I'll get to that one first. But here, the one that we're looking at is anytime we get new data in the game, our team will make a post about the new data and show you where it came from and more information about it. I think it's playing. There we go. Now it's playing. So you can see that here. We also have the ID discussion. So this is where game players will like post a picture and have no idea and be stumped, and everyone kind of jumps on board and says like, hey, I think it's this thing, a larvation. And sometimes even people from our team will go on the Discord and interact with our game players as well. And my favorite channel is the Cuties of the Week. So anytime players see some of their favorite images, they'll actually cast a vote of the Cutie of the Week, which I think is really hard because they're all so cute. Look at that. And the last feature I want to share, because we are here at Whale Fest, is this feature called Ocean Radio. So when you are playing the game, we have created some radio stations, and you can choose the music that you're listening to while you're playing the game. And for me, I usually love to listen to the Into the Deep ocean radio, which is the music that is used in the Monterey Bay Aquarium's deep sea exhibit. So it's very like ethereal and peaceful music. And so the aquarium was so generous enough to provide that music for us to use in the game. So that's the one I like to use. But another one that we have is called MBARI's hydrophone. And for a little bit of context, this hydrophone is a microphone deployed on the seafloor in the canyon that is constantly recording audio in the ocean. And of course, our Monterey Bay is pretty productive and we have a lot of whales. So we record a lot of different marine mammal sounds, so different species of whales, which is pretty neat. So you can actually listen to that station in the game as you're playing. So I'm going to demonstrate that now. Sorry, it's very subtle. When you have it on your phone, it's a little bit louder, but that's just a really fun feature that I wanted to highlight. And now for some stats. We have achieved quite a bit since launching, and so far we have over 50,000 players in over 200 countries. And collectively, game players have generated about 28 million annotations. And even more impressive is now over 100,000 newly labeled images are in a public database that is shared publicly, so researchers can use it and anyone can access them anywhere. And you might remember this video that I showed earlier at the beginning of the talk. And I'll just give you kind of a minute to look at it. There's a lot going on. You'll see a lot of boxes and things flickering in and out. But what you're seeing now is a machine learning model analyzing footage from this video. And each box represents the model identifying a marine organism. And here you'll also see like a species name, and these numbers are kind of going in and out, and that's just the confidence level of the model. So it's naming it to species, and then it's like 60% confident that it is that species. And, at the start of, and well, for these models, they don't just work, straight out of the box. They need a lot of training data in order to work. And so in the game, as you're labeling things, you're helping to improve these models to then help us analyze the data a little bit like more efficiently. And so, at the start of my talk, I showed you, how little of the ocean we've actually seen and how much life is still unknown. And the challenge, again, is not just collecting data, but it's really keeping up with it. And FathomVerse can turn that challenge into an opportunity. And by turning gameplay into labeled data, we can train models that can help us analyze ocean footage at a larger scale. And that's where we really start to close the gap between what we've seen and what's still waiting out there to be discovered. So with that, you can download FathomVerse. This QR code will take you to our website that will prompt you to download if you're interested. So thank you so much for your time and attention, and I would love to take questions. Thank you. Yes. Yeah.
10 minutes, I'm sorry.
Okay. Sweet. Yeah. 10 minutes for questions. If you have any questions. Yes.
Have you considered using AI, machine learning to train it on all the features that can automatically identify without human for
So without human, like to do it without human? I think from what we've learned in doing machine learning work, so machine learning is a form of AI, but machine learning, you train computer models to find and to label things. And what we found in this work is that it requires a lot of human in the loop interactions. So, the models learn from the information that we give it, but also a lot of the times, sometimes it will give us incorrect, labels. And so it's also part of the process is also validating that data. So we have found that this process just needs that like human in the loop for it to be better. Because again, we wanted to identify ocean life, and that's pretty hard to do. Yeah. Is there, yeah.
So when somebody's identifying things, you have a range, like vampires, like
Mhm.
you have sea stars.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So talk about at what level species
Mhm.
are going to be identified. And if
Yeah.
you see something, you know exactly what it is.
Yeah.
They're not to put that in as a mistake if it's not.
Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, so this question is kind of talking about sort of the structure of like our mission. So this game in particular is definitely geared towards a very high level. So it's like fish, sea stars, and it actually starts a little bit even higher. So we'll have like a cephalopods group, and then you start to get a little bit more specific. So some of these like briefings will be a little bit more specific, and some will just stay pretty broad. But we wanted it to be accessible, so we recognize that if you start throwing scientific names and family level, like if you get into taxonomy, it's super like complicated. So we wanted it to be a way that anybody can pick up and learn about vampire squid. So there is like levels that you can graduate towards that you slowly start to unlock. So the game sort of walks you through those levels. Your other question about if you know the species, is there a way that you can type in? So currently within the game there isn't, but eventually this data does make it into, I mentioned a little bit about that database. There's a database called FathomNet database, and here those images will make it there, and experts, that database is like, mostly meant for marine biologists or taxonomists, and they can go in and change it to species level, but we don't have that capability quite in the game yet. Great question. Yeah.
That's a great talk, and I was wondering because you were saying you're giving gamers the option to follow whatever topic you're
Yeah.
interested in. Do you find that there is one particular direction that most people gravitate towards, and you try to refigure it between it to like people more broad spectrum?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, so definitely, we are giving the option to kind of focus on the animal groups that you want to do first. So there definitely are some groups that most folks are interested in. So sometimes like your squids and the really cool like jellies and sea stars. So things like that usually people really love to do. And then there are some groups that are a little bit overlooked, like our corals. And so to do that, we can. So usually when you start a dive, there's a mix of different images in there. So we definitely try to like diversify as much as we can. But of course, dives are pretty specific. So sometimes if a dive is focusing on corals, like that's what you're going to see. So to mitigate that, we actually will do like quests. So we'll do like challenges and we'll say like, hey, like, there's a way that we track kind of where all of the like labels for each animal group are. And we'll communicate that with the app and also with the Discord group, and we'll set out challenges and say like, hey, like, the corals need more, ID. And so we do that by creating, like badges, and you can earn extra points. And so that way to motivate, people to kind of, do corals or, do other stuff as well. But great question. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
One, are there going to be more than 60 levels, or is it just going to be 15 levels? And then questions for the high stuff and the feedback, do you actually like listen to that live, or do you just in the
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so the first question, currently there is only 15 levels, but we have been getting, we're pretty, on it when it comes to communicating with our Discord group. We even have a channel about suggestions, and a lot of players, especially the ones that have reached level 15, are like, we need more. So maybe this is something that can be, a future opportunity. But we also want to think very carefully about like how we can provide, more rewards for our players who are doing this. And to your second question about the hydrophone, so actually, if you look up MBARI hydrophone, you can actually listen to it live, and there's like a live feed, and you just play the play button, and it will show you in real time whatever is going on out there. So it is live. But if you're interested in hearing specific sounds, there's also pre-recorded ones on the website as well. So if you want to hear like what a blue whale sounds like, and you can go in there and find it. And if you're interested in this, Dr. John Ryan is going to be giving a talk tomorrow, which I'm sure he's going to talk about because he was definitely a big part of making that happen. And he's the one that actually gave us the ability to do that within the game. So definitely check it out. Sweet. Any more questions? Yes.
So for the machine learning algorithm for recorded videos, what's like the percentage cutoff where you go back in to take a look at what's looked at to split this double verified links?
Yeah, that's a great question. So for that bit, especially when certain labels reach a consensus, so what that means is that a lot of the players will see the same image and they'll label it. So if they see a C star and they collectively call it a C star, it will reach consensus. But another way too that I didn't really focus on in this talk is there is a back end mechanism to this. So I also get to see a lot of that data. So for labels that haven't reached consensus, so sometimes everybody is stumped. Like they're like, what is this? Or sometimes it's just like, the picture is focusing on, like sediment or something and there's nothing there. For those that don't reach consensus and that nobody really knows, those are the ones that then I look at, and then I kind of break that consensus, and then I clear that. So there is sort of like a verification step towards the end, but it's definitely fully, on the game players, and the game players are amazing. They've been doing a really great job and really know their stuff. Yeah.
One of the challenges with putting together is idea for the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's a great question. So yeah, as I mentioned in the beginning, we started this from scratch. So we really had to, there was the design thing of like trying to design the game, but also the mechanisms behind. So the back end, like how do we reward players? How do we show them the data? So those are definitely things that we had to really think carefully about. And again, this is just such a huge collaborative project. So we worked with different collaborators and people who know about different topics. So we talked to people who have made games before and really kind of bounced ideas of how we could do it. So kind of, yeah, I think I would say like the back end was definitely pretty challenging to put together and think of ways that we can make it engaging, but also that they're learning about the ocean. So kind of that balance between all was pretty tough. Yeah. Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, so, another way that you can contribute to the project as well, especially if you're a scuba diver or if you happen to have, images, ocean imagery images, there's definitely an opportunity for you to contribute your data into the game. So to do that, you can email us and you can likely maybe see some of your data in the game that players can label. Yes.
Exploration is the kind that your image like timed or like pause where you can stop it.
Yeah, like if you're playing in the game and you need to like take a pause. Yeah, so you can pause it, and then I think if you go back to it, you should be able to go where you were. Yeah. Sweet. Yes.
So people are going into exploration.
Mm-hmm.
You're having multiple people going over the same image for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Then how do you decide when any improvements
Mm-hmm.
do that? It's like
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, every one is like dive specific, and it's going to depend on the missions that you have selected. So there is definitely some room for others to be looking at other data, like they're not just like trapped into looking at one specific ones. But there are some dives that people, like if they select certain groups, they will get that same dive. And so again, this is where our backend system kind of goes in. So we have like progress reports that even game players can access, and that tells us where this dive is in terms of like how much consensus has been reached. And then so from there, once we notice that, then I can go in and then kind of, I guess, like move complete the labeling, the little game session as well. So that's what we're doing sort of on the back end. Yeah.
That was amazing talking about it. You talked about how this is half of your job, but there's another half of your job. What does that look like? I'm so curious.
Yeah, definitely. So, especially in the video lab, we are responsible for making sure that all of the deep sea footage makes it back to us. So we do a lot of we work very closely with ship operations and the ROV pilots, and we have software on the ship. So we're supporting those operations to make sure that the camera is recording for one, which is very important. We want to make sure they're pressing that record button. And we have other software tools on board of the ships that help them annotate and keep track of what's going on in expeditions. So, we help with that effort. And some of our team also works really closely with social media and the science communication team. So some of our team actually makes the really beautiful YouTube productions that are available on our MBARI channel. So we just wear many hats. So that definitely is a really fun part about the job, is we get to do and dabble on different projects and work with other people.
Yeah, I heard that I'm narrator.
I think you're referring to, I've narrated a few videos for context. I'll let you find those. But yeah, so it's definitely a really fun place to work. Sweet. Well, thank you so much again for your time.
Let's hear it again. That was amazing, wasn't it?